What's up, everyone? So today I wanted to make a video on how to go about looking at your chart, meaning what are the steps you should do before you realize that, okay, this is who I am truly. And I've done this in my book, but I guess the terminology is maybe quite advanced for some of the new people. And some of the new people obviously are, they email me, they want to know exactly what's going on, what is this, what is that, how do I look at this, what are the steps that I should look at first. So I will give you in a visual form that me talking, so you know exactly what to look for in your horoscope whenever you get it through me or through someone else, okay? Because most of the people who get my book, I send them the link to, look at their own chart. So when you get your first horoscope online or anywhere, the first thing you should look for are the tables of degrees of planets and ascendant. It'll always be there in a full horoscope, always. So the number one thing you're looking for, the first thing your eye should go for is, what are the degrees of my ascendant? And the reason why I say this is because ascendant is 30 degrees long, just like any zodiac sign. So every 2.5 hours, your ascendant is changing. Your first house has changing the zodiac signs. One by one, they come in every 2.5 hours. So what you're looking for here is to see, are you on the edges of these two, of the single ascendant? So if you're less than 1 degree, or 1 degree, 1.5 degrees at Libra ascendant, or you're at 29.9 degrees at Libra ascendant, or 28 degrees at Libra ascendant, then you should just stop first. And then you should make sure that your time of birth is correct. Because if your ascendant is at very early or very late degrees, that means within 5 minutes, your ascendant is changing. That means what? Your entire life map is changing. So instead of getting married late, you might be married early. And so when you're looking at your chart without really questioning this side, and you see, oh my God, I have Saturn in the 7th house, but I got married at 24. This is not working. This is not right. And I get that. I actually got that. And then I looked at their horoscope, and then I'm like, okay, this is like 29.4 degrees. So I asked them, like, did you ever notice this thing that your ascendant is, at a later degree? And they didn't see that, and I can understand why. It's absolutely fine because you're new at this. But then when I asked them some of the questions that I saw through Dasha, I'm like, no, this is your ascendant. You're actually a Virgo ascendant, not a Libra ascendant. And through that, you can see, okay, they were married at exactly where they were supposed to be married. So look at that first and ask your parents, make sure. So, and then once you know that, okay, this is my time, then start matching. If you do not know that this is your time, start matching events. Okay, so I didn't graduate school. I got married at 35, or I'm 25 and I still haven't completed my studies. Look at what both charts are showing. Is your 5th house damaged in one and not damaged in the other? And that will show. Are you married? If you have Saturn in the 7th house in one and Saturn is not in the 7th house or is in the 8th house, then what does that signify? Okay, because then if Saturn is the 7th house and you got married late, then okay, this is your ascendant. If Saturn is not in that 7th house and you got married early, then go with that. So these little things will show you and give you the true path into deciding what your ascendant is. Your personality. Are you a Cancer or are you a Gemini personality? So look at all these things, okay, which I will show you more of these things, how to actually judge that. So that's number 1 step. Number 2 step is to see the placement of your ascendant. Where is your ascendant Lord is placed? So you figured out the time. Look where your ascendant Lord is placed. So if your ascendant Lord is in the 10th house, okay, why is it that important? That means your entire life, your being as a human being, which is your ascendant, is in the 10th house of professional career dealing. That means you're one of those people who are going to be workaholics. You could be a person who brings his work home. You could be a person who's always at work late. That defines your entire life, that everything that you do in your life will be regarding career. where somebody else might be about spirituality, where somebody else might be regarding the being a stay-home mom or stay-home dad. There's a lot of those now. So look at that first. Then you look at your placement of the moon. Where's your moon placed? So your life purpose is in the professional side, but where's your mind constantly? Because mind is also important. So then look at the moon. Where's moon placed? Okay, ascendant is in the 10th house, unless moon is the ascendant, is in the 10th house. And then if you have a different ascendant, then moon is in the 4th house. What does that tell you? That you're working, your whole life is about work, but your mind is always about home. What's happening at home? What's happening with my mom? What's happening with my, children and wife? Okay. Then once okay, here's my mind is all the time, then you look at your soul, which is sun. Okay. And the reason why you look at the soul is that what does your soul truly want? Okay, so your physical body wants to work all the time. Your mind is concerned with home life, but your sun is in the 12th house, meaning that your soul is really desiring for spirituality. That is, your soul is trying to tell you that this is who you really are about. This is why sun is very important in astrology. It lights up everything. Without it, nothing takes place. So always look at this soul urge, what soul wants. Then you look at every other planet. Okay, so my Venus is placed here, my relationships are going to be like this, my Mars is placed here, my energy is going to be going into this, my Jupiter and my Saturn are placed here, this is going to be my areas of knowledge and discipline. Okay, so then you look at that. You figure all that out, what sign they're placed in. Once you figure that out, then you look at, is there any planet that's debilitated in my chart that's causing me problem? Look at that. If there's no debilitated planet, then look at the exalted planets. Is there any planet that is exalted, that is out there to give me good results? Once you figure that out, then you look at it, are there any planets in their own signs? So if Jupiter is in Sagittarius or Pisces, Venus is in Taurus or Libra, Mars is in Aries or Scorpio, or Saturn is Aquarius or Capricorn, you look at every planet to see are they in any other sign, because that's another way of looking at the strength. Once you figure this out, that's when you go back to the moon and you look at your nakshatra placement of the moon. Because even though your moon in a sign tells you your mind, your nakshatra will tell you the actual direction of the mind. So if your mind is in spirituality, the nakshatra will tell you exactly what path of spirituality are you going to take. Are you going to be a yogi? Are you going to be somebody like Deepak Chopra who teaches people about spirituality? Are you going to be somebody who's trying to debunk spirituality? Are you trying to seek spirituality in a scientific way? All these things will be told by the nakshatra lord. So you figured all that out. Now what you look for is you look for aspects, meaning that are there planets looking at each other? Is Rahu looking at some other planet, aspecting the other planet? Is Jupiter looking at some planet? Are there mutual aspects between Mercury and Moon? Is there exchange of energies? So you look at aspects, because aspects then influence each other. Either Mars will influence Jupiter, or Jupiter will influence Mars, or Jupiter and Mars will both be exchanging each other's energies. So you figure that out, which is in the book. And I talked to you about it, and I will talk to you about aspects. Like I will go through these things in the future as well. What happens when Mars aspects Venus, and what happens Venus aspects Saturn, all of that. Okay, so you do that. Then after that, you look for functional malefic and functional benefic in your horoscope. Because on certain ascendant, Jupiter may actually do more harm than good. Like Cancer ascendant, like Taurus ascendant. So where in Cancer ascendant, people think, oh, Jupiter is a friend of Moon. So of course Jupiter is going to give good results because he's ruling in the 9th house of your luck, because it's ruling the sign of Pisces. But you guys don't understand that his Mool Trikon sign, the sign that Jupiter really feels that this is his real true sign, is in the 6th house of conflicts, diseases, enemies, debts. And so Jupiter becomes a functional malefic for Cancer ascendant. So Jupiter is not one of the best planets out there. So you have to see, is Jupiter debilitated? Is Jupiter strong? Is Jupiter in a bad dignity or good dignity? If a functional malefic is conjunct a functional benefic planet, it causes problem for that ascendant or for the significance of that planet. Which again, it's in my book, but I will discuss this in the future episodes as well. We'll go through functional malefics through houses, functional benefic through houses, what this functional malefic does in conjunction with this. Trust me, there's a lot more to come. Don't worry about it. But I'm just giving you steps right now. So once you figure that out, that's when you look at, this is again, I'm going to teach you in future episodes, is that trine, square, and sextiles of planet. So what happens when Sun and Saturn are square to each other? What happens when Mars and Saturn are square to each other? What happens when Mars is trine Saturn? What happens when Venus is trine Moon? We'll go through all that again. You know, you see how many layers are there to do a consultation. Once you figure this out, then, and also the second step should be to look at all the degrees of all planets. Are your planets in early degrees or late degrees? Are they really young where they just are infant babies and they do not know what's going on, their eyes are closed? Or they're really old, they just don't have any power? Look for that too. Once you have done all these things that I told you, then go on your dasha. Now you want to see what exactly are the things that are going in your life. What kind of house situations you're going to be running through. Do you have a lot of debts? Most likely you will running through a mahadasha of a planet that is ruling the 6th house, or is in the 6th house, or is aspecting the 6th house. So you look at your dasha. Then you look at your antradasha, which I will make a video. Yes, I know. I will make a video on antradasha, which are small planetary time periods in a major time period. And then there are antradashas. Okay, so there are 3 types of the main period, sub-period, and sub-sub-period. I'll go through that in the coming weeks. Then after that, you want to see what's happening now. Yearly transits. So if a planet is showing you debt, but then let's say Mars is coming over your 6th lord, and let's say Moon is sitting there. So that tells you what? That okay, I could get into some accident, or I could get some cut, on my body. I should be careful. So it goes to more minute things on a yearly transit basis. So these are the steps you look for, or any astrologer look for when you're looking at a chart. So once you have looked at all this, you're not done yet though. Guess what else you look for? Then you go on divisional charts. You go on your D9 chart, D10 chart. You look, what are the true dignities of my planets? If my planet is debilitated in the birth chart, is not debilitated, is exalted in the D9 chart, then okay, it's going to give me mixed results, but the good results will come later on in life, especially after I get married. And once you do all these things, then the important part comes in. Then after you looked at all these things, then you see, okay, what yogas do I have? Do I have a Raj Yoga? Do I have a Dhan Yoga? Do I have, Mahapurush Yoga? Do I have Hans Yoga? All of these things, yoga, that's when yoga comes into play. And then you just the whole horoscope. So you see there's so many layers that you go through. And I don't even want to add the KP astrology because that's even more in-depth stuff, which I'll cover later. But guys, this was my just numbering of how to look for things in a horoscope. So if you are looking at your horoscope as a newbie to Vedic astrology, follow these steps. And if you're new to my channel, subscribe above because I'm going to be talking about all of these things that I discussed and a whole lot more. And if you want to know about your chart and horoscope, and so check out my link below. Check out my book there, Astrology, the Speed of Light. When you get the book, I send you a link to look at your own chart and so you can study them. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.